What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Yeah. What's good? This is your boy, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on a very special dose, a Super Bowl dose of Chalk It Up Sports via the Chalk It Up Network, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. I am elated. I'm grateful. I'm happy. I'm excited. I feel good. The vibes are high. Man, you guys, your Philadelphia Eagles are looking to put belt to ass. Let's make one thing clear, one thing for certain. They didn't come for play. They didn't come just to look good in the uniforms. They didn't come for the gumbo. They didn't come for the jambalaya. They didn't come for the beignets. You feel what I'm saying? They came here to lead with a ring. They came here to lead with some jewelry. You dig me? And they plan on knocking off the champs to do so. And so much work still has to be done leading up to this point, man. We're so confident in this team. There's so many things that we need to be excited about. There's so many things to be excited for. There's so much confidence brewing in the zeitgeist. I know you guys feel it. Some of you guys have already made your way down to New Orleans. Some of you guys are in your home state, your home city, your hometown, locking in with your boy. Please, oh please, understand that it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us to get this ring. You feel me? It's going to take all of us to slay that dragon. It's going to take the whole village. You dig? So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. Listen, I have a very, very special guest coming on in just a couple seconds, right? Just a few seconds, right? But I want to give him the proper intro, right? Now, this is a first-time guest for me. Me and this guy go way back. We go back to our college days. And it's funny. One of the first things we bonded over was the Philadelphia Eagles. You know how when you first go to college, if you went to college, right? You know, you try to tap in with your roommate and you try to find out who you're going to be living with. You try to find out, okay, I hope I'm not living with a serial killer or whatever, right? But we tap in, and one of the first things she said, yo, bro, you like sports? I said, yeah, football's my shit, yeah. He said, you an Eagles fan? I said, hell yeah, I'm an Eagles fan. And it was curtains from there. You know what I mean? Like, me and this guy go way back. I got a lot of love for this dude, man. Got a lot of love for him, his family. Man, oh man, his mom kept us fed in college. I'll tell you that right now. Kept us fed. But let me not waste no time. Let me not keep you guys waiting. This brother, I respect his football mind. Played football on the high school level, and now he's coaching football on the high school level. This brother is the special teams coordinator and running back coach for the varsity team for the Wilson Area Warriors of Eastern PA. Yeah, I said it. Special teams coordinator, running back coach. You know we're going to talk a lot of running back play. Saquon Barkley's having a hell of a year, so we need a running back coach in here, right? You know the special teams. We don't talk too much about it when it comes to the Eagles, but that's something that's going to be really important. And that's something that the Kansas City Chiefs have been really excelling at, especially throughout the playoffs, right? Field position is important. So I had to bring in my man, the special teams coordinator and running backs coach for the varsity team for the Wilson Area Warriors of Eastern PA. And also, he is the head coach of their junior varsity team. He's known by many as Coach Michael Figueroa, but the guys call him Coach Fig. My guy, how you feeling?
Hey,
How you feeling?
how you doing, Tone? No,
Bro.
man, I just got to say I appreciate you bringing me on. It's a blessing, brother, and to see where you come from. You talked about college days. I remember every Friday, man, it was wake up your Friday mornings with Big Bro Tone. We would all tune in, radio broadcast station. My man Tone was playing the jams, had a whole, I mean, if you know Western PA, and shout out to Western PA, shout out to our yins over there.
The
Yeah. But we brought culture over there, and it was just a blessing to see where you're at and to be here now, man. I appreciate it.
Bro, listen, man, like outside of just, listen, I'll put you this way. We had a lot of fun in college, bro.
Oh,
we had a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. But regardless, like, we're gonna just have
fun
conversation,
now,
man. Yeah, we're gonna have more fun right now because
and let's start this off by saying let's go Birds. It's a big weekend, as you said, and
absolutely.
We're locked in, we're loaded. It takes all of us.
Bro, I agree 100%. And you got the BG jersey on. The BG jersey is phenomenal because he's playing. He's playing.
I know he was questionable in practice today. I did see that. No, he needs to play, and there's no doubt in my mind he's going to do whatever it takes to get in there, man. He brings a whole different type of energy to our team. Now, I think our defensive line right now is super locked in. I mean, they're playing at a phenomenal level. Phenomenal. And just to add BG into that mix, like he's not going to be 100%. I think we all know that. But in 85%, a couple plays here and there to sprinkle him in, he's a difference maker. Those couple plays here and there, he could do something. A turnover, and turnovers is the keys of the game, man. BG.
That's a good point.
And 55, man, just shout out to that number. I rocked that in high school. 55, Brandon Graham, beast, longtime Eagle. Shout out Brandon Graham too.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point, right? And from what I'm seeing here, BG, he was limited in practicing on Wednesday. He was limited on Thursday, and he was a full practice participant today. So he's playing, bro. Okay. And like you said something real key, right? A few plays here and there, right? No one's asking BG to go out there and play 30 plays, right? But if BG can come in and give you 10 to 15 solid plays, and on top of that, BG has fresh legs, bro. Fresh legs. He's been chilling since week 12.
100%. 100%.
So we're going to, and it's his last game. So we're going to get BG. BG's going to empty the tank. And I think that's the kind of brother you really want on that defensive line right now. It's a huge morale boost. Huge.
It's the energy you need. Like last in the tank. And that's what football's all about, right? When you think about it, it's like, what are you going to do for that half a yard? People call it the tush push. Jalen calls it the QB sneak. It all comes down to an effort thing, though. Effort outside of the season, effort to lock in the film. There's so much that goes into the process. And, BG has done it for years. And he knows it's over. He knows his time has come. But that type of energy, like, hey, I'm going to put my I have nothing to lose. I'm putting it all. That's a hungry dog right there. And that's what we want on the liner. Hungry dogs. Like, how hungry are you to go get it? We got the best dog in the NFL, I think, right now at D tackle. And that's a
Right.
hot take. People can argue that all you want, but Jalen Carter's technique and those swim moves that he be pulling, I mean, he wins every one-on-one that I see.
That's the thing. Like and most of the time they try to double team him, right? I think in that I think it was the Rams game, he was double teamed more than half the time, and he was still winning those matchups. And I think the one thing that stands out the most about Jalen Carter is his motor, especially in comparison to year one, right? Year one, he only played about 50% of the snaps, something like that. You know, him and Jordan Davis kind of struggle with the motor side of the game, right? The
Yep.
conditioning. And then, but also they come from that Georgia school where they rotated a lot and they were so deep in Georgia that they didn't
Oh,
have to play a lot of snaps. They just had to go in and do what they had to do, right? And the talent just jumped up the screen when they were on the field. But when you think about how far this defensive line has come in terms of motor, development, technique, right? A guy who's been developing right in front of our eyes is Nolan Smith. You said something really key about just the preparation, right? You're a coach. You know, you coach special teams, you coach running backs. You know, you're the head coach of the junior varsity team at Wilson Area High for the Warriors. And I know the one thing you have to preach more than anything is preparation, 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 technique, fundamental, right? Try to take me in the mind of the athlete, the player, because not only did you coach, you played. Try to take me through your mind of what goes through preparing for those big games, those big matchups, right? Like try to walk me through that, and also try to correlate it to what the Eagles are having to prepare for in this Chiefs team.
yeah. So I really believe it starts way before the season, if I'm being honest. So if we're thinking from a pro perspective, because that's a whole different level, right? So, their season's really starting after that draft, because by that draft, most of your team, at least going into the season,
Yeah,
it is somewhat configured, right? You still haven't gone through cuts yet, but you have a solid idea because your free agency is mostly done now. There may be those lingering free agents, right? But for most, a lot of your teams figured out, and then you instill that game plan, right? Not only does that conditioning and the strength aspect, because you go from college, and even if you're playing at Georgia, right? Unless you're like, one of those super top, like a Jordan Davis, right? You got to be like NFL ready, but a lot of college players coming into the NFL, and that's another thing now is like you have to know that you're stepping into a man's game. So, you big in college may be, hey, there's someone right next to me in the locker room that's the same size as me, in the NFL. So it comes down to studying the game, technique. What did and I could just go off of perspective, right? A lot of this, time off since the season has ended, going into film, what did we do bad? What do we need to work on? There's special teams, such a people may think it's such a small aspect of the game, right? Because you get such a minimal play count of special teams throughout a real game.
right.
But that, how important like punt team is, and just having schematics understood. You have to have different formations for different scenarios. If you have a solid return man, hey, and maybe he doesn't have as quick of a step off of the right hash compared to the left hash, where he may attack downhill a lot of the time. It's a lot of tendencies, but it's studying that aspect. So, having, maybe I want to move one of my better tacklers or one of my better wing players to the right side where I'm kicking the ball. You always want to kind of have scenarios prepped out. So in an NFL perspective, they're doing all of that right after the draft. Players may get that chance, say their goodbyes, get everything packed, and I can't speak from experience, but I can only imagine, it has to start right away. Let's get these players, not only strength and condition, but they have to start understanding the game plan and the schematics of what we're trying to do, and what we're trying to accomplish. So, I from a defensive perspective on the Eagles side of the ball, I can say, like, Vic Fangio has changed our entire dynamic on our defense, and that's just in 1 year. You know, I looked at some of the stats, Tone, and I seen like in now a lot of our defense against the rush, kind of with similar stats. 2023 we let up 1,758 yards in the regular season. This year we let up 1,771.
Okay.
But touchdowns, 2023 we gave up 13 rushing touchdowns. This year we only gave up 9. And on first down, last year we averaged about like 111 yards on the rush if they ran it on first down. This year
a game?
No, not a game. Like throughout the season, just on
Okay,
first down alone. Just on first down alone.
Got it.
In the regular season, it's not including postseason. But
got it.
And I got these from NFLstats.com. So if that's my source for anybody trying to look into what I'm saying, it's NFL stats. But that's not really where I saw the change in our dynamic, though. Is really, I looked at passing yards. Dude, we're almost in 2023, we're giving up almost 5,000 passing yards in the regular season. We're at like almost 4,500. This year, we're sitting at about like 3,266 passing yards. We gave up 35 touchdowns on the pass last year alone. This year, 22. We had 13 interceptions this year. Last year, we only had 9. And I think that speaks to the bend and don't break type of style that he runs. We will let a defense or an offense, try to tire themselves out, drive down the field, but we're not giving up those touchdowns as much this year.
That's the difference.
We're not. We're making those key stops on 3rd and 4th down, near the goal line when it truly counts. And I think a lot of that just goes into the scheme. I mean, we did vamp up, on personnel and what we've added to our roster, but we were running like great zone defense. We're causing turnovers. I mean, to have the increase, 4 interceptions over 1 year may not seem like a lot, but interceptions aren't easy to come by.
Exactly. Interceptions are like an opportunity type thing, right?
It's so much that things get, that's the media, right? You get highlights all the time. Like, I think some people get misconstrued on how easy these things or how hard these things are to truly accomplish and how easy it looks or how easy they make it seem.
That's a good point because, you're right. The Eagles didn't have the most interceptions in the NFL, but I think what's really come on for this team over the back end of the season is just how many total turnovers they force in general, right? I mean, they had like consecutive games. Matter of fact, I'll put it to you this way, right? And that's I want to say in that Steelers game, they forced a turnover, right? Then the Commanders game, they forced 5 turnovers. The Dallas game, they forced 4 turnovers. The Giants game, they forced a turnover, right? Then you go into the playoffs with that kind of momentum, forcing turnovers, and then you force 4 turnovers against Green Bay. You force 2 turnovers against the Rams, right? You force 4 turnovers against the Washington Commanders. That's a grand total of 10 turnovers over the course of 3 playoff games. And on top of that, your offense hasn't turned the ball over once. So you're plus 10 in the turnover differential. Your defense is playing where they're playing, not just throughout the not just between the 20s, but also in the red zone, right? And then on top of that, they're not getting ran on. They're not getting ran on, and you're keeping points off the board. Listen to this, bro. You brought up the rushing numbers, right? And this is where things get interesting for this game and this is where Saquon starts to fit in a little bit. For the Eagles defensively, right? For the season, the regular season, they were allowing 104 yards per game. That's pretty good. That's top 10. That was 8th in the league. Kansas City on defense was giving up 106 a game. Kansas City was ranked 9th. Eagles were ranked 8th. So their run defenses were pretty similar throughout the regular season. The playoffs is where it gets interesting for both defenses because Philly throughout the playoffs, 3 games, we're only giving up 105. So in comparison to the regular season and the playoffs, the Eagles' run defense is still on par. 104 versus 105, there's only a 1 yard difference. Your run defense is still traveling, still doing well. It's at the same rate, very consistent. Now, this is where it gets bad for KC. KC, like I said, in the regular season, they were holding teams to 106 a game. In the playoffs, that 106 jumps all the way to 151 in the playoffs. Through 2 playoff games, because they had a bye week. So through 2 playoff games, the divisional and the conference, they're averaging giving up 151 rushing yards a game. They gave up 147 to Buffalo. So if you did that to Buffalo, if you gave up that many rushing yards to Buffalo, what do you think they're going to give up to the Eagles with Saquon Barkley and his offensive line? And then you got Jaylen Hurts who's able to rush as well. I mean, this isn't the easiest matchup that people want to make it out to be. I understand Mahomes is who he is. I understand Spags and Andy Reid are who they are. But when I look at this Eagles defense, passing defense, run defense, their defense on third down, right? They're literally the most efficient defense when it comes to not being able to generate pressure. So when the Eagles aren't able to generate pressure, they're still the number 1 defense in football. Still, that alone. Because again, Mahomes is a freak of nature. You may not be able to get him on the ground all the time, but the fact that your defense is still number 1 in efficiency, and when you're not able to get the pressure, speaks volumes to how they're coached. Speaks volumes to their ability to cover. One of the things that stood out in that Commanders game was their coverage on the back end. Because there were moments when Jayden Daniels had some time. There were moments where he was throwing off his spot, but he was overthrowing stuff, short arming stuff. This isn't going to be the easiest game for this Kansas City Chiefs offense. And it kind of frustrates me that people are making it seem like, yeah, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, look, I get it. But this defense has been number 1, and they've been number 1 consistently for a reason.
Oh, and listen, I think that speaks. You're exactly right. That speaks to our coaching, because we have young players, not only playing at a phenomenal gameplay, but we are so disciplined in our zone play. And you have to be, to have a good zone defense, you have to be disciplined, not only in disguising your coverage, but making sure you're getting to your spot and not getting locked onto a different target or getting caught up in the backfield and what's going on. Now, Andy Reid, one of the greatest coaches, the NFL has ever had, super creative play caller. I remember watching a podcast on John Gruden and just speaking on who was his most competitive coach, and Andy Reid and their time at Green Bay. But think of all the, and his time with the Eagles too was definitely, very credible, and he made a name for himself, as well as, revitalizing the Eagles organization. But his play calling, man, like he knows how to throw defenses off, whether it's motion, whether it's play action. And Andy Reid loves his play action. He loves that play action, that screen game. Like, he's going to do some creative way to try to throw us off of our game. I think the key is to stay disciplined and just stick to what we've been doing. I think if we play the way we've been playing, it's going to be hard for them, because I don't believe that they have, and Travis Kelce, great tight end, one of the greatest tight ends as well that the game has had. But he's not, at his peak in terms of his speed off of a route or, of where he's at in his career. So I don't think they have speed, but I don't think they have truly a player. They have good supportive cast all around. I don't think they have, other than Mahomes, I don't think they have that one guy that's truly
they can kill you and take over a game.
Has to draw double coverage, mandatory. That's what I'm going to say.
You brought up a good point, because yes, although Travis Kelce isn't the same guy, what makes him dangerous is that chemistry more than anything with Mahomes. They give Kelce a ton of option routes, and you almost don't know where he's going to end up. He's going to always find the soft spot of the coverage. Exactly. So the thing is, can you offset his route? Can you throw off the time? I think when it comes to the Mahomes-Kelce combo, the best thing you need to do is throw off their timing.
Yep.
I think that's what you need to aim for, right? Because he's going to find the soft spot. They're going to give him these option routes, right? It's not the easiest to defend. And also, he does turn it up in the playoffs. But I think disrupting their timing is going to be everything. And the Eagles defense has been great at doing that as well. You mentioned the fact that they got a decent supporting cast. But here's the thing about that supporting cast, though. A lot of those guys haven't been in this game before. DeAndre Hopkins, talented. Don't get it twisted.
I don't want to disrespect that because they're not decent. They're solid, but they're not. My point is, I don't think they're mandatory. I have to double him every play.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. I don't think there's anybody. Honestly, this may sound crazy because he's old, but you may have to keep another set of eyes on Kelsey.
Yeah,
because it's just that chemistry. But I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I'm not worried about Xavier Worthy. I'm not worried about Hollywood Brown. You want to know why? Because as fast as they are, the Chiefs have not been an explosive offense. They've had speed between those guys this year. I know Hollywood Brown just got cleared before the playoffs started, but Xavier Worthy, he's brought them speed, and they haven't really been able to access that speed downfield. So what Andy Reid had to do, he had to get creative, and now what they're doing is they're getting him the ball in those short yardage situations, the screens, the jet sweeps, those orbit motion routes. They're trying to get the ball in his hands quick in space, quick slants, and allow him to do stuff after the catch. The Chiefs' offense has lived off of yak yards this year. They have not been an explosive offense downfield. So they're completely comfortable. They're completely comfortable with nickel and diming this thing down the field. The question is, can you keep points off the board? And can you, as a defense, can you limit their opportunities to score? I don't think this is a game where the defense needs to be perfect, but you need to steal possessions away.
Correct. We're not going to be perfect, and you're not going to stop Mahomes ever fully. You have to contain him. I think is an important point is possession. I think the Eagles, as much as I love to see the breakaway runs for touchdowns, like I think ball possession and keeping the ball out of Mahomes' hands as much as possible would be good too. Like I would love 10 yards here, Saquon, 5 yards here, 3 yards there, touch push, boom. Just possessing the ball, wasting that clock. And on defense too, you're right. They have speed, but we have young speed too. Cooper DeJean isn't slow by any means,
Yeah.
I think it comes to linebacker play too, right? Andy Reid is going to get creative. He is going to get his players the ball short field, and he's going to challenge us too. I don't think, as much as they're not a big play team, they're going to try to challenge us. This is all for the kahunas, baby. You know what I'm saying, man? Yeah. This is where, and I think he is going to try to challenge us, but we have to stay within our game. But our linebackers, man, look at what Zach Bond, is just doing. Not only is he having a phenomenal year, but the way that he's just impacted our game with tackles. Guess how many leading tackles a linebacker had on the Eagles last year? Dude, it was
105.
Not even 93.
Oh, wait, it was Reid, wasn't it? It was Reid Blankenship, right?
No, just by a linebacker alone.
Oh, linebacker
alone. 93 by Morrow.
Bro, you're so right. You're so right, because I think Reid actually led us in tackles, didn't he, last year?
Yeah, it wasn't even.
Bro, that tells me everything about how we were just getting ran on, or we guys were getting beyond our first and second unit.
Missed tackles
last
year. How many tackles? We were so undisciplined last year, and I mean that speaks to us changing coordinators at the end of the season, just the dysfunction that we had. I mean, but there was missed tackles all over that field last year. I mean, players. They I don't know the exact number, but I'm sure that those yards after contact were
bro. We were giving up a regular over 100 yards regularly after the catch, after contact. Like we were not a good football team defensively last year. And I know Jaylen Hurts got a lot of flack last year, but for the turnovers. But in reality, if you really think about that season the way it went, if that defense is just half as good as the one we got this year, we look totally different.
Oh, 100%.
That defense was awful last year. People don't talk about that. That defense was god awful last year. Then you bring in Vic Fangio, and then you see what's been so crazy about this year. You mentioned some of the young guys, right? Cooper DeJean that you find in the second round out of Iowa. You draft Quinyon Mitchell in the first round out of Toledo, right? You find Jalen Hunt out of Houston Christian University, right? Then you find Zach Bond. You develop Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter. You bring in Oren Burks as a rotational guy who can play special teams. You draft Jeremiah Trotter Jr., right? There's so many moves that were made on the offseason by Harry Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie and Nick Sirianni in terms of hiring and personnel choices that has taken his team to another level, but it doesn't work without Vic Fangio really elevating these guys and really being the true architect of this cover two defense, right? Of this zone defense. It's nothing better than getting it from the horse's mouth. It's nothing better than getting the getting it from the source. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
And Vic Fangio has been an ultimate developer. He has these guys coached hard, they practice hard, and the level of discipline that he's provided on this defense and how he's been able to elevate these young guys has been insane, Fig. Insane.
Dude, that goes into the time in the meeting rooms, dude, into the film room, because there, in order to have an efficient system, especially in football, and in the NFL level, you're running multiple different types of zones, different coverages, different formations. You have to be so detailed. And hey, I need you 10 yards away from this hash, not 12, not 11. I need you 10 yards, because this coverage is intended to stop this type of passing concept. You know what I mean? And for a young player going into that, like, that takes a lot of studying and a lot of discipline. And you could just tell the type of players that they are, because they invested that time and that brought them to where they are. I'm a true believer, and you're going to get what you put out in the life. It's all about an effort thing. And I said that before, but it's so true. They have definitely put in the work and the development to be where they are. And it's going to take a lot to stop that Kansas City offense, especially with the comfortability and the chemistry with Kelsey, and finding those soft spots. But I guarantee Fangio, by maybe the second round of the playoffs, you have to be prepared as a coach too. Every coach is doing that. I have a coach I coach with. He's an old nose, played with leather helmets, like, it goes back, dude. He was the type of coach, if you drop the ball, like, why'd you drop the ball? It ain't shit. He really.
Oh, dog. Dog.
Coach Class, he's the man. But
shout out to Coach Class.
But he's developing practice plans, right now for the first 2 weeks of practice. So I guarantee Fangio was in there, studying, okay, where does Kelsey like to sit if this linebacker's sitting right here on this hash, or if he drops in the middle zone, or if we drop him to a hook to curl, how does Kelsey react? And just studying those tendencies. Yeah, we have to. And what our improvement at that linebacker position, I mean, dude, Zach Bond, just in the regular season alone, 150 tackles.
And you played linebacker, right? Like I'm glad you're going where you're going with Zach Bond. You played linebacker in high school, right? You understand, gap discipline and just knowing where you're supposed to be, right? Like, you're coaching special teams. You like where you're supposed to be on the field is so important, and it just always seems like Zach Bond is hardly out of place.
Always at the right spot, the best nose for the football. If you're playing linebacker, that's the key to playing linebacker, having that nose and staying disciplined to your reads. I mean, offensive line, and any coach out there in football could tell you, your offensive line is your key to everything. Following your guards as a linebacker. But Zach Bond, he just has those predetermined instincts, and that goes into film too. Studying, hey, they're at this formation, I seen this motion on film. I played like that too as a linebacker. I wasn't always the fastest, I wasn't the tallest, I was strong. I definitely, I had some things going for me, but like, my asset was my brain and being able to study tendencies and us going through scouting practice all week and reading what they're doing and their gameplay and their favorite plays. So when we got to the game, and they're calling this motion and they're doing the exact thing I've seen all week, dude, I'm a key ahead of you. Like I'm jumping to that spot before your guard could even get there. And that is good linebacker play right there. And I think that's what Zach Bond has been doing too this entire year. Nakobe Dean, dude, what an improvement. 128 tackles this year. You know how many he had last year? 30. I mean, he didn't play as much, but that improvement, he knew he was on. I think it was a fight or die this year, I think.
I agree.
And we had a conversation actually over FaceTime, I remember, before the season, and I was telling you, I said, dude, it's make it or break it for Nakobe Dean.
That's a good point, because the reality was year one, you didn't play, understood, because you had veterans in front of you. That made sense. Year two, you get the green dot, but then you end up on IR twice. So you barely play. So year three, I'm entering year three with him as, okay, I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's bad. There were some people who gave up on him. There were some people who would always try to crown him too soon. And my whole perspective was, look, I like him as a man. I like the player. I like the pedigree, but I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's bad. The only thing I know is he's dealt with health issues. So then year three comes, like you said, make or break season. And remember, we thought Devin White would be the guy, because remember, they signed Devin White, and supposedly he was the one getting most of the first team reps, him and Zach Bond. But then all of a sudden, week one comes, Devin White has this phantom injury that all of a sudden we didn't know nothing about. And then Nakobe gets to start. And then the word comes out that Nakobe was supposed to start all along. So now we're like, hold on, wait. But did Nakobe have the better training camp or not? Because I remember, again, Nakobe Dean was never the first team or never was first in the rotations with Zach Bond. It was always Devin White. And then on top of that, when they had the public practice, remind you, my dad went to the public practice. When Nakobe was at the public practice, I spoke to my dad. And then I even heard he was getting routed up by Kenny Gainwell. Bro. So, and also Vic Fangio was very candid about the fact that Nakobe still has some work to do. You know what I mean? He had a strong start, then he had a little rough patch, but we're going to get him right. So none of us were really keyed in on where Nakobe was. Then he starts in week one, and then obviously the Eagles go through the growing pains through the first 4 weeks. They go into the bye week 2-2, and then him, Zach Bond, the defense entirely just takes off from there. I mean, you're so right that Nakobe Dean has so much to prove, and he was having a tremendous season. It sucks that he got hurt in the first playoff game, because obviously he's an asset, and we're better with him. But it's been amazing to see Oren Burks come in and pick up that slack.
And dude, but that speaks to the testament. Like, it's just like when Nick Foles comes in, man, next man up, baby. Like,
but that's hard. That's not that easy, especially a linebacker, right?
It's not easy, but that goes to discipline and preparation. Like, how invested are you into this program? Like, bro,
that's a good point. No one was invested last year, Fig. Nobody. You brought up a good point just now.
We're so disorganized. I mean, dude, just so disorganized. That's the great thing about bringing experience on the defensive side and maybe going more experimental on the offensive side, right, Nick? We all know Nick Sirianni is an energy guy. He's bringing the energy. He's obviously handling some of our game management, taking those risks. Like, he's Philly energy to a T. And I will wholeheartedly agree with that. As many questionable calls as maybe I've even questioned, I love the energy that he brings. But a head coach in the NFL, at least, you have very educated coordinators. Like, there's a lot of people who know football, and sometimes a good chemistry works where you have your energy guy and you let your coordinators run. Fangio's experience, he's been in the game for how long? Like, he brought that discipline, the education to the game, not only to our younger players, but to the players that we already had there, and has just made that difference entirely. Owen Burks, next man up. Like, you have, as a coach, that's your job to make sure all your players are invested. You could be a third stringer, dude. Some of my favorite players were, the players that maybe didn't play as much, that I tried to, get in as much for, because they were still the players who would come to practice every day and still try to hit you as hard as they can and run through the bag as hard as they can and do those little things with that effort. And that's what a winning culture needs, and that's the testament to the roster that we built. It's a testament to the the lessons and the values that our coaches are bringing at the organization, and just to have that next man up concept in for that man to be ready and to be able to produce, dude, that speaks volumes.
I loved what you said about being invested in the program, right? Because Oren Burks, again, he got thrown into the fire when N'Kobe got hurt and in that wild card round against Green Bay. Also prior to the Green Bay round, he did play damn near all the snaps in week 18 against the Giants, and he had a hell of a game. And Oren Burks, I'm definitely curious to see how Kansas City addresses him, because technically he is
got a lot of film on him, and that works in our advantage.
I didn't think about that. I did not think about that, because he's been playing very well the past couple weeks, and I know a lot of people tried to give him a little bit of slack about his Green Bay round, but my whole thing was, first of all, he came in cold. N'Kobe got hurt. Let's be honest about this. He set the tone in that Green Bay game, forcing the fumble on the opening kickoff. So he's been special teams. And that goes back to your point about guys that even though they may not get the snaps, they're playing every snap like it's their last.
And that's where you prove it. Julian Edelman, man, he was a great player in his own, but when he started, he was making plays on special teams. Like, I maybe I never did this before, but I'm gonna do it as hard as possible, and I'm gonna give him my all. That I had a player, Tone, who never played football in his life. He came out this year, his senior year. Wasn't a very talkative person, not the most social person. Sometimes, like, he was so quiet, I didn't even know if he was actually getting it or not. Like, I would spend some time, like, even like after the practice, yo, what's up, man? Like, bro, I'm just here to help you, bro. Like, let me know your questions and I'll explain to you. I know you never played. It's not the easiest, but dude, his effort, and he just did what he was told and was just disciplined and was just so coachable. I'm sure players, the best players are the most coachable players. Like, they will do exactly what you say, no question. Like, it's time to go to war. They understand the mission, right? And dude, he earned his way to a starting position on defense just by making plays on special teams, consistency, doing his job, making tackles, and to the point where head coaches, hey, look at this kid, like, let's get him some tick, and Owen Burks doing that, and to make turnovers on special teams gives a whole other vantage point to the team that is not, like, you can't even explain. Like, dude, when we got that turnover on special teams, like, I have a best friend, Packers fan, die hard. Oh, biggest Eagles hater I know. And F you, we beat you.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, but he you just saw his energy die out as soon as you saw that. Like, sometimes that hurts more than an interception or a forced fumble on defense,
It was the first play of the fucking game,
bro, and that hurts so much more that it wasn't that you didn't even get the ball and we got a turnover.
And that can carry over to other games.
What we need.
Like you said, bro. You said to your homie, it took the energy out of him. Imagine what it did to that. Imagine what it did to the Packers.
Exactly. That's my whole point.
And then you think about the Commanders game, right?
Players feel that.
What I love about the Eagles turnovers, especially throughout this playoff run, I feel like forced fumbles are more deflating than interceptions.
Yeah.
Because when you think about every forced fumble the Eagles have forced for the most part, they have punched the ball out. I mean, like, they've been the more physical team every step along the way. Like, my favorite fumble, I know I brought up the Oren Burks one. My favorite forced fumble, it's a close tie between when Zach Bond forced the fumble on Diami Brown or the Will Shipley forced fumble on special teams. It was the Commanders game.
I love that Will Shipley one, man.
I love Will Shipley, but special team, bro. He clocked him, bro.
Yo,
Clocked him.
Look at Saquon, such a player's teammate, bro. Like I'm sure in the NFL, you're making millions. You have those players with that personality. Like, nah, man, you ain't on my, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they're not on that level, but like Saquon's like, he's the first one out there giving Will Shipley a hug, like when he scored a rushing touchdown. Like,
bro, dude, he ran out there, put his helmet on so he wouldn't get flagged. He put his helmet on and ran on the field and just hugged him, bro.
I know, like, I love that, man. That's like, we have such a bond within our team, and you could see that. Like, there's never, like, I hate to use the word never. Actually, I'm gonna rephrase that. I love to say that even if a team goes down and scores the ball on the Eagles, right? Redskins scored the ball. There's not a time where you see a player's head on the sideline like disengage right away or letting it bother them. Like, super positive, like, hey, all right, come back. Like, this is maybe where we went wrong. This is how we could, like, it's all positive. They have that energy and that faith. Hey, we're just gonna get it back. Like, we know what we did, and we can control. Exactly, man. And that goes into, every person that is out there on the field playing, right? And
that's the reason why I think we won. That's the reason why I think we won
Super Bowl, bro.
That's why I think we won it all. Because
if you're not a player,
chemistry is this team's chemistry is so fucking balanced, bro. Like they really play for each other. You see the next man up mentality. You see guys holding each other accountable. They over communicate, especially on defense. Like, you just see, bro, what Saquon Barkley has brought to this Eagles team. Look, they had leadership, right? Jalen Hurts is a leader. Devontae Smith is a leader. They had leadership sprinkled in, right? But what Saquon Barkley brought to this team, to have a guy, you said it already, right? A guy of that caliber to be the team player that he is, that shit is humbling, bro. And it makes you, it really changes how your teammates approach you. It changes preparation. It forces guys like Kenny Gainwell, in my opinion. The numbers don't show it, but I feel like Kenny Gainwell had his best season this year, right? Will Shipley had a phenomenal season as a rookie, right? Even though he didn't really get time, but the playoffs, he got his opportunity and he made the most of it. I just see a team that's really invested in the program.
Invested, bro.
Invested in the program.
Kenny Pickett came in. He performed. He did his job. He goes down. Tanner McKee comes in, does his job. Last year, that wasn't the story. Marcus Mariota would come in, and we're not clicking at all. We're not the same team.
You know who did their job? You know who really did their job, low key, like the unsung hero on offense that doesn't get talked about much? Grant Cockatera. Grant Cockatera, bro. Remember, Dallas Goedert only played 12 games this year. He missed 5 games this year. He missed 5 games. So when you put it in perspective, Grant Cockatera had to really come in and, like, he's not the best blocker, right? But he can run the routes. He can get open. He has speed. You know what I mean? Like, every time you throw the ball to him, he's going to catch it.
Athletic. Right? He's so unspokenly athletic.
He's very athletic at the position, man. I just think
he would have got drafted higher out of college. He had an injury and ended up having to go back for another year.
Yeah, so he was at Oklahoma at first with Hurts, and then he left college because of the concussions. He thought his football career was done.
That's what I'm saying. He had some injuries.
Yeah, then he got like another opinion, came back to college, and then he ended up going to SMU.
Yep.
And then the Eagles were able to snag him. He's way more talented than his draft position says.
Oh, 100%.
And I think the Eagles got a few guys on this roster that their talent is way, way better than.
You even know that because of the amount of stars that we have on our offense. And, we have to be able to spread the ball because you have hands to feed. So maybe Calcaterra isn't going to be getting a ton of catches, but his catches are meaningful. They're first downs.
Big point.
They're chain movers. That's what you want. You want chain movers. If you're not, sometimes you don't need players. I don't need you to be my touchdown guy. I don't need you to be my big playmaker. I need you maybe to be my 10-yard guy, my 5-yard guy, my safety option. I need you to run these certain routes and trust that you're going to be there every time. That's what Rob Gronkowski had deep plays, but it was mostly because of his after the catchability, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just saw that point, Jahan Dotson. I mean, Saquon Barkley, Jahan Dotson, Lehigh Valley, baby. Shout out to the Valley. Born and
sure.
born and raised, baby.
For sure. For sure.
But dude, he people say, oh, he's not doing as good. He's not as good. He's on the field for a reason. He does his job. He
Yeah.
does what they need him to do. I need you to run a deep route just to draw this safety just a little bit so it can open up a spot underneath for Devontae Smith running an in route, then that's what I need you to do. And maybe you're not going to get the ball, but run that route like you were going to get the ball. And sometimes players aren't willing to do that, or they'll complain, or I want to trade, or, I'm not looking to play that role. And that goes to my testament again, Tone. Everybody's invested.
Yeah, and it's easy to be invested when you know you got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith in front of you. It's no conversation, right? I wish you would have a problem with your job. I wish you would have a problem with your job. Hey, listen, you need me to set screens, big dog?
Hey, I got you, homie. I got you.
But also, again, like I feel like that's the theme of this conversation, right? Being invested in the program, because this team doesn't get here without being invested. You know how hard it is for maybe a guy like AJ Brown or Devontae Smith to just let Saquon come here and just take over your offense like that. And I mean, it's not like Saquon came in with an ego, but Saquon has just been so dominant. You have to feed that.
Exactly.
And I have a feeling that the Chiefs, I understand their defense has been top 10 this year. I get it. But no team, we faced good defenses throughout this season, right? That Packers defense is a good defense, right? We faced good defenses. They have no answer for Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley, I think he carries the same mystique as a guy like Patrick Mahomes, right? Obviously, he doesn't have, the championship to back it up. But in terms of impacting the game, a guy that you just have to be worried about as soon as they touch the rock, Saquon Barkley is the kind of guy that if you just miss one assignment, he's taking it to the crib.
Oh, dude. They're both in that type of caliber. The Chiefs, and I'm sorry for this take, but I feel the Chiefs like scraped their way to the Super Bowl. Like they weren't super dominating all. Like I know their record was their record, but I watched their games and I just felt like they scraped for wins. A win's a win at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
I mean, and you don't get there without a good quarterback making the right decisions every time, managing the game appropriately.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, Steve Spags. I mean,
I'm not crediting anything away from their success. I'm just saying I've watched their games and it just sometimes it hasn't felt like they empowered the other team. Like they scraped to the point where now we're comfortable. Now we know how to manage this out. They're the best. I mean, him and Coach Reid and Patrick Mahomes they're both on that same page every time, and that's what makes that tandem so dangerous. And
what do you say to the notion that the Chiefs were bored? They were just waiting for the playoffs. I don't really buy into that because, I understand they're used to getting there. You got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Steve Spags. That gives you a lot of confidence. But the way they, like, to your point, I'm not buying into the whole fact that they were bored or they were just trying to just win the game. I'm not buying that.
No.
Because if you want to dominate the opponent, you're going to do everything you can to dominate the opponent. And they couldn't do that.
Dude, you have to perform at such a level to even pull out a win. Nobody's bored. I think sometimes maybe that was a headline grabber. I don't know, but they're not. I don't think they were as much of a dominant team as like when they won the Super Bowl with Tyreek Hill, and I even think last year they were a little bit of a better team. I'm not saying their season isn't great and their success isn't great because but they built that culture, dude. They have a system in place. They're an engine that's rolling, baby. They're caboosing away, and they've been for 2 years now. And that's why they're going for a three-peat. Like they're just not as dominant, I think, as they were before. That's why I say, like, I felt like they scraped to the Super Bowl. Like they haven't dominated like I've seen before. Their run game is still solid. Their defense is great. But I think it comes down to Mahomes always making the right decisions. Andy Reid being able to have that experience and just game management as a whole, the creativity. Like, they knew they could probably get to the playoffs. From the playoffs, it was game time. They know how to turn it on, right? But why I think it's dangerous, Tone, is we earned our season, my dude. We didn't. We won one. I think we lost one. If I can remember correctly, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but we didn't start off like undefeated or any.
Yeah. We won one, lost one, won one, lost one. Yeah. So we
Yeah,
were 2-2
exactly.
going through the bye week.
Going into the bye. So we had to revamp things and create our system, but we got better each week. And now when we get to the playoffs, I think we're even a better team. Saquon is that game changer, but our offensive line is a game changer. Yeah, they have the top defense, or one of the top defenses. Their defensive line is great. Chris Jones is great.
Yeah, George
They haven't,
Karlaftis. Yeah.
they haven't played an offensive line like ours. I don't think there is an offensive line like ours in the NFL, if I'm being honest, dude.
Or even to your point, played a team with this offensive line running back combination.
Exactly. Because it's a passing league. It's a passing league now, man. We're defying the odds. We're taking it back, because we have players in place. We have everything in place to be able to do so. But it also takes that special player, and that's what put Saquon in that conversation. Him, Derrick Henry, like this year, and just talking this year alone, like those two backs have been great. And
bro, I would even throw in Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones to that category, right? Those four.
They thought Aaron Jones was done. They thought Josh Jacobs was done. I mean,
they thought all four of those guys were done.
All free agent running backs produce at a crazy level, and I love that, though. It's a revitalization of the running back position, baby. Bring it back. That's what wins football games: defense, running the ball. And you could pass the ball as much, but Mahomes wins by running the ball. They got Kareem Hunt for a reason. They got Pacheco back. Pacheco's a dog. I love Pacheco. Shout out Puerto Rico, and I think he's a great player. But we have one of the NFL's top defensive linemen, Jordan Davis. You saw what he can do, if he's fired up, if he's engaged. Mm-hmm. We have stellar linebacker play. We're disciplined, we're consistent. And I know Fangio's studying tendencies. I know we're going to be prepared this time. I think last time, Tone, you had our defensive coordinator, John Gannon, looking at the Cardinals position, interviewing. I don't think the focus was there entirely. And I think this time it's a lot different. We know it's all at stake. The Chiefs, and it's a media thing too, Tone.
Yeah. Can I say one thing, bro, before you continue, bro? Because I saw somebody put something in the chat that's one of the most annoying stats that the Chiefs fans are really holding their hat on. I'm sure you heard the whole notion that Vic Fangio was 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes, right? Or 0-8 against the Chiefs, right? And that was during his time as the head coach for the Denver Broncos and the DC for the Miami Dolphins, right? But listen to this, right? Just listen to this. This is when numbers need context. So Mahomes is 8-0 against Fangio, right? In the 8 games against Mahomes, Fangio's teams averaged 11.9 points per game. He had no offensive production. And the Eagle, and also in those games, I think the Chiefs were able to score on special teams a few times. So my thing is, you're trying to hold Vic Fangio to a standard that's really a false equivalency. His offense literally couldn't generate points. But so when you put that in context, you think the Eagles putting up 12 points? You think the Eagles putting up 12 points, Fig? Like, let's be honest about this, right? That 0-8 stat that they're trying to use is almost a non-factor. Fangio has never had a defense as talented as balanced as this. He's never had an offense he's never had an offensive group personnel as talented, as dominant as this. That 0-8 stat is quite literally a non-factor in this matchup. Non-factor. If there's a Chiefs fan that thinks they're holding the Eagles to 12 points or 13 points, you smoking crack. You're smoking crack.
They're hitting the pipe with Wanda.
Hitting the pipe with Wanda, hitting the pipe with Ashley Larry. They smoking something, and it stepped on.
They got a crack in their foot.
I'm just saying, like.
No, I agree, dude.
Go ahead.
Fangio, one, as a head coach, you're not in charge of all responsibility. You have D coordinators, O coordinators to handle game plan responsibilities. Unless he's a Belichick doing everything, which it was his first time as a head coach, if I'm correct.
In Denver, I think so. Yeah.
I don't think he was doing like a Belichick and handling everything.
No quarterback, no offense. Your offense averaged 12 points per game.
I don't think that stat should be held against him. He wasn't like, you're a head coach. You're managing multiple aspects, and yeah, that's going to fall under you because you're the head coach. But I think him strictly as a defensive coordinator. And you have to have points too. You're exactly right, Tone. You got to be able to. A good defense comes with a solid offense. If you can't pass the ball, you better be able to run the ball, or you have a good mix of both. But you got to do something if you're going to have a good defense. And I think there's a couple teams in the league that could prove true to as well. But
yeah, absolutely. And they want to bring up his time in Miami, right? Well, let's be honest about this. The offense only put up 7 points in that playoff game in the wild card last year. That Miami Dolphins offense only put up 7 points. The Chiefs
was not the same player.
And the Chiefs put up 26 points. My thing is, how much do you think the defense? You think the defense is going to hold the Chiefs 3 points?
No, Miami got bit by the cold last year. That's what it was.
Exactly.
Kansas City, also, it was different.
Yo, and those Miami players, bro. Lazy, bro. Lazy. He was never even supposed to be in Miami. He was supposed to be in Philly. Fangio was supposed to be in Philly last year, but the whole Gannon debacle threw us off, and he had to settle for the Miami job, and that's why he came to Philly the following year,
which ended up working out. And I think when he's solely focused on just defensive game planning right now, and he has done a phenomenal job. And if he, we just found a system that works. We found the balance, I think. And bro, another thing about Miami, I just Tyreek Hill getting all that money and now requesting out, that just speaks to the type of culture, the type of faith that he has in that system. So, you can't put everything on Fangio because I'm sure there were a lot of other external factors going into play.
Absolutely, man. I want to talk more about this offense, man, in particular, Jalen Hurts, because, Jalen Hurts, as you and I both know, he doesn't get a fair shake as most quarterbacks in his league do. And one of the things that people try to hold against him is his ability against the blitz. But Jalen Hurts has been significantly better versus the blitz this season. And on top of that, when people try to throw the Kansas City aspect at him, well, last time Jalen Hurts played KC in the Super Bowl, he had a 76.9 completion percentage against the blitz versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl against Steve Spagnuolo's defense. So, you hear people say, hey, stop Saquon, force Jalen Hurts to throw the ball, all those things, right? My thing is, right, Jalen Hurts is one of the most accurate quarterbacks on the pocket. One of the most accurate quarterbacks on the pocket. One of the most efficient quarterbacks on the pocket. Like, this notion that Jalen Hurts can't beat the blitz or even Steve Spagnuolo's blitz is
ridiculous.
It's not just ridiculous, but it's a fallacy. It's a false narrative. And to be frank about this, although he lost that Super Bowl, again, he had a 76.9 completion percentage against the blitz against Vic Fangio, and we didn't have a run game. Miles Sanders was a non-factor in the Super Bowl. Kenny Gainwell was a non-factor in that bowl. Boston Scott was a non-factor. Did you know between those three running backs, the Eagles only generated 45 rushing yards between those running backs? Jalen Hurts led the team in rushing in that game, 70 yards rushing on the ground. You think Saquon Barkley is getting 45 yards?
Bro, having a great running back just changes your entire offense. The read option. That's why, the zone read and the read of what they run right now, that's because of Saquon. It's so effective when you have a quarterback that has that athletic ability like Jalen Hurts. And, I don't think he always gets his flowers, and I don't think he will, and I only say that at least not now. And I only say that because one, I love my birds, baby. But there's a lot of people out there that also don't like the birds, and just because he's the quarterback, maybe for our team, or doesn't have all the crazy stats as not stats per se, but crazy plays like a maybe.
No, you're right, bro. It's a combination.
He's
of
a
stats.
winner, though. He's a winner, man. He's a leader. He's a leader of men. You know how, like, everybody in the NFL are grown adults, grown men. You have to be a certain caliber of just a person alone to be able to lead not only like an offense, but like a group of men, and to be able to carry yourself to a certain degree and perform the way he does. He's not the most padded stat breaker in the column sheet, but he's an efficient stat patter. Like, his efficiency, dude, and the decisions he makes, and he's not a risk taker either. Like I saw last in the divisional championship game, you know, Jalen will rush around for a little, but if nothing's open, I'm throwing the ball away. I'm not making no stupid decision, no stupid risk. Yeah. Even if maybe I could gain an extra 2 yards, I'm just gonna run out of bounds because I'm not gonna get hurt. I'm not gonna put my team in that position. Bro,
like in that conference championship game, bro,
his decision making's on a whole other level.
He went 20 for 28, but if you take away the throwaways, he was 20 for 24. He was damn near flawless. Damn near flawless.
I mean, and I don't say decision making because every quarterback's going to make questionable throws. You know, Josh Allen, he just won NFL MVP. How many balls have we seen Josh Allen throw? Like, dude, what are you doing? You're throwing in triple coverage, making this crazy play, but his offense, in a way, like, he is that main player that offense revolves around. So he plays differently than Jalen Hurts. Like, bro, we have so many weapons. Jalen Hurts doesn't have to be that guy. We don't want him to be that guy. Like, exactly. I don't want you getting hurt. We just want you to make the smart decisions and put our team in the best position to win. And that's what he's done since he's took over as a starter of this team.
Yeah, bro. There's this notion that a quarterback is supposed to, you know what it is, bro? We're obsessed, not you and I, but people. It seems like some people are obsessed with quarterback suffering. And what I mean by that is they criticize Jalen Hurts for being blessed with weapons like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, the offensive line, Saquon Barkley. They used it as a way to discredit him. But my whole thing is, hold on, wait, most of this offense, if not all of it, was drafted. The only free agents on offense was Mekhi Becton, and we traded for A.J. Brown. We drafted and we signed Saquon Barkley. So the only free agents are Saquon Barkley and Mekhi Becton. We traded for Jahan Dotson. We traded for AJ Brown. We drafted everybody else. So my thing is, it wasn't like Jalen Hurts just inherited this king's ransom. He inherited a 4-11-1 team. And they had to grind to get to this point. And the Eagles offense, the personnel, Jeff Stoutland, Aaron Moorhead as the wide receiver coach, right? Nick Sirianni, all these, they developed these players. They developed this offensive line. They put these guys in position to succeed. And I just think it's strange to hold that against a quarterback for having a competent GM, for having a competent coaching staff, right? Maybe these other organizations, maybe these other teams need to do a better job at evaluating.
Exactly. And not only that, dude, I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Any team that has won a Super Bowl or has been in a winning culture, you know, maybe multiple NFC championships, Super Bowl appearances, whatever, you have weapons. I don't care. Every quarterback needs a weapon. You don't get anywhere without at least an identity on offense. You could be a Josh Allen, but even Josh Allen has James Cook, who's a phenomenal running back. He has young receivers, a good tight end core, you know, like
Kincaid at tight end. Yeah,
everybody has a supporting cast. So why does Jalen get discredited for having his supporting cast? Who knows? But it doesn't matter because he does what he needs to do with his supporting cast.
Right. I want to make life for my quarterback easy.
Bro. That's 2 Super Bowl appearances in 3 years.
Been in the playoffs every single year.
Like McNabb, great quarterback, Eagles legend. He didn't do that.
Right. And on top of that, right, you know what's so funny about it? People love saying anybody can run this offense, right? But the reality is, I don't want anybody just running this offense because Sure, you could probably find quarterbacks who throw the ball further.
Everybody could say that, but it's not.
That's so easy to say, right? Because here's the thing, right? You could have the most talented guy in the world, right? But who is he when it matters most? Who is he when you're in the playoffs? You need that first down. Who is he when you need him to elevate his game in the playoffs, right? Listen, with all due respect to Josh Allen, with all due respect to Lamar Jackson, right? With all due respect to those gentlemen, they are two of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. But when the chips are on the line, when it's the biggest moments, who are they? Who are they? That matters for something. My quarterback, the one you guys call Daniel Jones 2.0, the guy you guys like to discredit. Hey, say what you want about him throughout the regular season. He may not be a stat sheet stuffer like those other guys, but you know what he does? When he's in the playoffs, he elevates. When he's in the playoffs, he makes the right play. When he's in the playoffs, he puts the ball in the right people's hands at the right time. Like, come on now.
And that's why I just find I don't even listen to the talk anymore. Like, just let the play do the talking. I think a lot of the time too, and I think goes back to the quarterback. They're saying Jalen isn't as talented since he's leading them big game in cups. I think you have to have talent to be able to produce no matter what. I mean,
you gotta have some kind of talent.
Yeah, so whatever, at this point, I don't even listen to the talk because just let the reality speak for itself. Tone, 2 Super Bowls, 3 years, if you look at the wins by these quarterbacks in maybe the last 3 years or since they've been started, Jalen's top 5 right up in there, or maybe top 10 at least. But you have to give credit when credit's due. And man, he is a leader of men. He has made every right decision. He's put us in the best position. And I don't think any quarterback could come in and have the same results because every quarterback plays different with different instincts. And instincts is a thing of the game that management, I'm sure, takes a study into as well. Like, what is his player's instincts when he's getting rushed or he has a hurry right here, or if he knows his reads right here and he knows he has this amount of seconds to throw that all goes into consideration. I saw something the other day. Bill Belichick, dude, would take notes on how he would approach a situation, how the players reacted to the way that he handled that situation, and just kept the log of everything. Like, that's how detailed these coaches truly get into the game of football. I mean, everything goes into account. So Jalen's doing something right, dude. And I think the media and obviously the NFL are going to ride the quarterback position, but I truly think the true MVP of this year was Saquon Barkley, dude. Changed the game, came back, started hot with the Giants, then got a little injuries, and things don't go as well, and fighting for contracts, and you come in. I mean, granted, I understand the line that we have, but dude, you have to be able to make those reads on those plays and make those moves and make those misses. Like, not every running back has the ability that Saquon does, and the ability to break these tackles and to hit those holes and have the vision that he does. Vision is such a key factor, dude. And he has revitalized not only the running back position, he's made running the football fun again. And I think they gave Josh Allen a bone. That's my take.
I actually agree with you on that.
Sorry.
I thought they would give
Josh Allen fans.
I thought they would give it to Lamar. Lamar had a better season this year than he did last year.
As a quarterback, yes.
I thought they would give it to Lamar because MVP is a quarterback award. I really didn't think they was going to give it to Saquon. I really didn't. So I was thinking.
I know they wouldn't. No running back is going to get that award. But I'm saying just for the.
But Josh Allen though, I didn't look, man. No disrespect. Listen, he had I'll put it this way. He had an MVP. Josh Allen had an MVP worthy season, but he's not the MVP this year.
No,
he's not. No. He's not to me. I feel like I feel like it was Lamar Jackson fatigue. They didn't want to give it to him twice. I mean, three times. They didn't want him to be back to back, and they felt like like you said, they do Josh a bone. They felt bad for him. Think about how they've been talking about him since he lost that playoff game against the Chiefs. They've been saying, I feel bad for that dude, man. He's 0-4 against Mahomes in the playoffs. And win the game. What do you mean you feel bad for him? Win the game. Like, I'm like, it's like, are you going to feel bad for Jalen Hurts if he loses this game? No, you're not. So, like, I don't feel bad for none of these guys, man. These guys are crying in Ferraris and crying in mansions. I don't feel bad for these guys. Like, come on.
Commentators like Tony Romo, who always rooting for. I swear, he loves Josh Allen, dude.
And I get it. Josh Allen is a fun quarterback to watch. I get it.
He is a good quarterback to watch, but
I love watching him. Don't get me wrong. I love watching him play. But it just seemed, again, man.
The Ravens were damn near unstoppable this year, though. I mean, they were just a good team. It was a surprise to me that they lost to the Bills. I'm not gonna lie.
It was, which goes back to my point. When you have a quarterback like Jaylen Hurts who can elevate in those big moments. Listen, I understand. Mark Andrews dropped the ball. I get it. But so much happened prior to that play that put them in a situation.
It doesn't fall in one play. Yeah, there's possession. You have so many possessions in a game.
Lamar turned the ball. He turned the ball. He fumbled, I think. Like, it was just like so much happened in that game. I can't just look at Mark Andrews or I can't just look at Dalton Kincaid.
It doesn't all fall to one play.
Yeah, they love trying to blame Mark Andrews. They love trying to blame Dalton Kincaid. Listen, so much happened in that game. So much happened in those two games.
And that's going to be important for the Eagles, I think, going into Sunday, because you are going to have, right, at the end of the day, it's football, it's a sport, but it's also entertainment. And the Chiefs won 2 in a row. They have, face of the NFL. I don't want to say it's not fixed, but some calls, maybe slide your way a little more, especially if you're a winner. So it comes down to taking opportunities, taking the most out of your opportunities, game drives, possessing the ball. Like, you can't have those mental mistakes, or you can't have those mental lapses, because you don't know how many of those opportunities you're going to get just with all external factors that go into play. And that's what comes down. It's an effort thing, and it's an investment thing. And it's like, hey, if you had one play out there on the field, what the hell are you going to do to go make the most of it? You get one chance to do this thing, baby. So you let it all out, you let it rock. And I'm sorry, I know Mahomes is gonna, and the Chiefs are gonna do what they do. They're gonna still perform. I'm not saying we're gonna stop them, but we have to contain them. We have to keep the ball on our side, and I think we have to have 1 or 2 turnovers that go our way, and maybe a special teams play that works out in our favor. Something that could bring the momentum truly to our side.
That's a really good point. Our special teams has played phenomenal throughout this playoffs. We forced turnovers on special teams in 2 of the 3 playoff games we've played. 2 of them both coming on kickoff returns for the opponent. So that's a really big deal, man. This Eagles team, they're playing physical, they're playing tough. Their attention to detail has been phenomenal. They have a nose for the football. They've been forcing it out, and I think this is a game, like you said, right? Like you want to steal possessions from them. I want to ask you this though, right? We've been live for about 1 hour and 17. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to make sure you guys are subscribed to the Chalk It Up Network. I'm joined by my guy, Coach Michael Figueroa. The guys call him Coach Fig. You know what I'm saying? Me and him go way back. I call him Figgy. You feel what I'm saying? Sometimes we call him Fig. Sometimes we call him Figueroa. You feel me? Yes, shout out to my guy Fig. So make sure you guys smash that like button.
Coach Fig's Fundamentals coming soon.
Exactly. Show my man love. He's going to be starting his channel soon. Coach Fig's Fundamentals, man. He's going to be giving you guys film breakdown. He's going to be breaking down technique. He's going to be breaking down all the attention to detail, understanding where guys are supposed to be on the football field, understanding positions. Like he's going to give you guys a lot of breakdowns. And he's also going to be giving you guys breakdowns on your Philadelphia Eagles, draft breakdowns. Like this is a big opportunity for the Eagles, not just now, but also just to fill out this roster as well, even beyond the Super Bowl. But let me ask you a couple more before we start to close this thing out, bro. Once again, I appreciate you for being here, man. It means a lot to me. Like this conversation has been phenomenal, man. Like it doesn't even feel like an hour. But you know how me and you go when we talk. So I gotta ask you a couple more before we start to close this thing out. Give me your dark horse selections for Super Bowl MVP. You can give me somebody on offense, and you can give me somebody on defense. Who's your dark horse MVP? The easy answer is obviously Jalen Hurts or Saquon, right? But who are your dark horse MVP selections?
I have it because I think AJ Brown is definitely going to get a touchdown, but I could see like the player of the game on the offensive side as Goddard or Devontae Smith. but I think I might, because Devontae Smith is going to provide us big plays. He's probably going to get his touchdown, but I just see
Yeah.
Goddard.
He's averaging over 100 yards every time they play the Chiefs.
Dude, I just see Goddard eating. And
Yeah.
Jalen loves Dallas Goddard is a great weapon, bro. I mean, granted, he does miss games, but when he's on that field, he's a difference maker. He's an unthinkable difference maker. Sometimes, I mean, everybody knows he's a good player, but I don't think people understand like how good he really can be.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So you're going to go Dallas Goddard on offense as your dark horse?
I am.
Okay. Now, what about defense? Who's your dark horse MVP on defense?
I'm gonna go with the rookie, Quinyon Johnson. 2 picks.
Oh, Quinyon Mitchell. Yeah.
Or Quinyon Mitchell. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
No, you're good. That's interesting. Quinyon Mitchell. You think Quinyon gets 2 of them things?
Dude, got his first one in the playoffs. Like, I don't know. He's just feeling hot. Like, and what better than, because he has that rookie energy. Like, I remember being a freshman. Like, you go up like, man, I don't care. Everybody's saying I'm a rookie. I'm about to show these people really what it is. Like, I just see Mitch, or I just see him making a play or two, dude. Like, that really changes the game,
bro. It's crazy.
They're gonna try to pick on him. He's a rookie. I would.
They're going to try. They're going to try, but I think that's the misconception, right? Quinyon Mitchell has not played. He's not played like a rookie all year long. I mean, he had, everybody gets beat once or twice, right? But he's been solid all year long, and him and Cooper DeJean have turned it up to another level in the playoffs. Like Quinyon has 2 interceptions in the playoffs so far. Him and Coop are not giving up receptions. They're not giving up yards. Stingy. They are closing on the football, dude. They're very stingy. Very good point. If I had to give you a dark horse MVP,
yeah, let's hear yours.
I'm gonna go CJGJ. I think CJGJ. He's such a physical player. He's the heart of the defense. I think, bro, I don't put it past CJGJ like catching like a crucial interception in like a crucial moment, like a high stakes moment. Bro, I don't put it past CJGJ to get a pick 6, dog. He's that kind of guy.
He is, but he's also a forced fumble guy. Like, I just see him coming in and
smacking. Good point. That's a good point.
Getting a forced fumble, like boom, change, because he brings the energy to our defense. You have Jalen Carter. Obviously, he's probably the biggest difference maker. But in terms of energy,
oh my God, we didn't really talk about him. Him and Nolan, we didn't really talk about them today. Like, bro.
And I think I wanted to bring. We're talking about forced fumbles and our favorite plays, dude. Talk about bully Jalen Carter. The way he punches the ball out. I like that. Zach Bond, dark horse MVP. I do like that as well. But I
like that.
Jalen Carter, man, the way he punches that ball with such, dude. He's a beast amongst men, like out there playing like that, and he punches that ball like I'm trying to knock you the hell out, boy. Like,
bro, he plays every snap. How do you game plan that? He's always on the field.
Smith, man, stepped it. I love his character, bro. Love his character.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Right, there's a moment. I'm always watching like the mic'd ups and all the unscripted, right, for the Eagles on YouTube, and in that Rams game, there was a moment that gives me goosebumps to this day, right? Jalen Carter got his first sack on Matthew Stafford, right? Remember, he sacked Matthew Stafford and he picked him up. Yeah. And then Nolan was there. He's all right, put him down. Everybody's like, put him down. So he put him down, right? So that was a drive killer. They killed the drive right there. So after the sack, him and Nolan running back to the sideline. Jalen Carter takes his helmet off and he's like, hey, yo, Nolan. Hey, yo, no. Hey, yo, no. Thanks for trusting me right there, man. Thanks for trusting me, Nolan. Nolan walked up to him. He said, the fuck you mean, thanks for trusting you? You see that shit, you call it. Let's ball. Like, dude, I'm like,
his what? Energy, bro.
I'm like, what? He said, you see that, you call it. What you mean, thank you for trusting you? You just better stop playing with me. Like, I'm like, what?
I saw an interview.
What?
I forget what they asked him, and he was like, man, I'm not even supposed to be here.
He said I'm supposed to be. He said I'm supposed to be at the shipyard, something like that.
Yeah, man. Like, bro, that's the humbleness and it's energy. Like the different personalities on the team and everything. Bro, if anybody was going to break that three-peat, it's the Birds, bro. And I just think we got the energy. We have the young players playing, and hopefully we do what needs to be done.
Dog, let me see if I can bring it up on screen real quick. Like that shit gave me chills, dog. Like I love that play with Nolan and Jalen Carter. Like Nolan and Jalen Carter's ability to play with each other is insane, my guy. Like insane. All right, let me see.
They play like they're still in the mud, bro, and I love that.
All right, let me bring it up here. Hold on one second. All right. All right. So he got the sack and he walked back to the bench. All right, give me a second, bro. Let me press play on this. This was a moment, bro. A moment.
Great job. Hey, no. Thank you for trusting me. Don't say no like that. You feel that? Call that. Come on.
Yes, sir.
What? Bro, it gave me chills, bro. Bro, I love that shit. Let me play it again.
Great job. Hey, no. Thank you for trusting me. Don't say no like that. You feel that? Call that. Come on. 33.
Bro, it's their time. It's their time, bro. It's their time. It's their time, bro. These guys, we got such high character guys, such high energy guys, dog. Like Nolan Smith has come on, bro. He's already ranked second all time in playoff sacks for the Philadelphia Eagles, bro.
The way that Howie built this team is just phenomenal, man. I think he's a testament as to what teams should aspire to do.
I love this post by Brandon the Great, my man. He says, funny thing is, every Eagle wants it in blood. They want it back in blood. They want that lick back, bro.
They play like they're from the mud still, and I love that attitude. You gotta have that energy in football, man. Like,
dog, it's just spooky, bro.
Just the dogness. Like they embody what football's about. That's what I feel like about the energy of our team.
I couldn't agree more, man. That's a beautiful place to leave it at, man. Fig, like this has been a hell of a show, man. I gotta get you back on, dog. Get you back on. Like this was so dope. The conversation was easy, like it always is for us, my man. I'm so glad you reached out to me today because Super Bowl's right around the corner. It's right there. It's 2 days away, and this is no better time for us to get this ball rolling, for you to kind of plant your feet as far as building your content, your channel, my guy, and your football knowledge is there, bro. The way you talk about the game, the way you break down preparation, and again, you set the tone in this conversation. Like you really planted the seed of this conversation. The one thing you said that's going to stick with me for a while is investing in the program. That was huge, in my opinion, right? I think that's something I haven't heard anybody say in that way. Like that was a big deal to me, my man.
Bro, football is a sport, not only a sport that we love, but it teaches you life lessons outside of the game. You can apply that. And I had a coach that was real big on not only building us as football players, but building us as young men. And I think that's what, I think the game teaches to people. You got to invest in your program, bro. Whatever it is that's going to better yourself, invest into it and watch what the hard work does.
Yeah, man. Fig, thank you so much. Listen, also shout out to everybody who delivered a super chat. Shout out to my man Phil Skip with the super chat. He says Mitchell with 2 picks, but one of them is for 6.
Sir.
I like that.
Sir, Phil. I told you 2 picks, baby.
I like that, Phil. My man War with the Zach Bond Dark Horse MVP. I like that. 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, and 2 sacks. I like that, War. William Johnson, he said, I'm pretty sure the Bills, Rams, and other teams will be better if they had Patrick Mahomes. If my dog had gills and fins, he'd be a fish. These people are weird as hell with the dumb takes.
They got what they got.
For sure, man. Shout out to my man Alex. He said hitting on Jalen Hurts in the draft is the reason we have the current roster we have right now. Very big point, man. Cheap contract, second round pick contract, gave us a lot of breathing room. William Johnson, yeah, for sure. Like he says, what's up, fellas? Now they're saying Jalen isn't as talented as the other quarterback since he's leading them in big game accomplishments, like 2 bowls in 3 years. You're right, William. It seems like they continue to move the goalposts for Hurts. So it is what it is, man. All we're gonna do is keep winning, and they're gonna keep kissing our ass about it. And last but not least, my man Carlos Rosado. He said, Tone, belt to ass. Go Birds. You already know, man. Carlos, the vibes are high. And again, I'm grateful to my man. I'm grateful to my best friend, my brother, my family, Coach Fig, Coach Michael Figueroa. Once again, just so you guys make sure you guys know who he is, man. He is the special teams coordinator and the running back coach for the varsity team for the Wilson Area Warriors of Easton, PA. And he's also the head coach of the Wilson Area Warriors junior varsity team, man. So make sure you guys, again, support him. He's going to be building his channel, Coach Figs Fundamentals, and he's going to be coming on way more going forward so we can help build that up and so we can provide him with a platform so he can continue to talk sports and shed his football knowledge, you guys. Thank you guys so much for locking in.
Hey.
Big, any final words before we go, bro?
Hey, just support the channel, baby. Chalk It Up Sports. And man, he knows his stuff, and there's no one better to have a conversation with than Tone the man himself, DeShields II. He is the one and the only, and my brother, my family, and love you like a brother, my guy. Thank you for having me on the platform. I appreciate it. Everybody follow that button.
For sure, man. Smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Hey, Fig, stick around after this live ends, man. Again, smash that like button.
Birds,
make sure you guys
baby,
are
go
subscribed.
Birds!
I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You guys have been tuned in to a Super Bowl edition, a victory edition. We putting that shit into the universe, you guys. This is our time. This is our moment. You better believe that nobody gonna take it from us. They're gonna have to kill us. You feel what I'm saying? Like I said, everybody is entering that flow state. We talking about Ultra Instinct. We talking about KO Ken times 100. We talking about Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan God level. We are in it. We are in it to win it. We have reached our final form, and now it's time to prove it to the world that why we're the best. You guys have been tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports on the Chalk It Up Network, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. We out of here.